Hey everyone, it's Jake Clark, John Schneider, Eric Faldy, Todd Atchison today on the Fargo 3D Printing Show. Got a couple different things we're going to talk about today. Got a new product that we're going to release. We're going to be talking about an elephant thing that you guys got found. Yep. They found an elephant in Fargo. And then we're going to talk about a materials company, and then I'm going to talk about the trip that I'm going to be going on tomorrow or Tuesday down in Arizona. So, new product announcement. So what we're releasing is a MakerBot Replicator 2X heater core replacement or heater block replacement. So this is over the last couple of years, we've actually run into a problem where the ceramic will actually break off, and then it's kind of a pain to go find the ceramic piece, and MakerBot doesn't have a ceramic piece, just the ceramic piece, so you have to buy the whole thing, which is like $500, and it's just a bad deal. So what we did was we have a one-piece molded heater block with the nozzle and the set screw that we sell now on our website as well as eBay, and it'll be up on Amazon shortly.
Probably by the time this is live, actually.
Yeah, and then so that's the main thing. So our website, eBay, and Amazon. It's a pretty quick fix. You can just slap it in there. It does not come with a thermal barrier tube though. You have to use your own. We don't make that, but so yeah, you just screw it on there. It comes with an alignment jig too, so that's pretty neat, where you can actually just line that up onto the piece, and you can level your nozzles, and then you're good to go. And it's actually, sometimes the nozzles are actually more level when you replace it than they actually come out of the factory.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, we have it in kits right now, 2 packs, where it's 2 heater blocks, 2 nozzles, 2 set screws, and on 1 alignment jig for about $50.
Yep.
So it's a great
about 1/10 of the price of replacing.
Yes, and replacing the whole thing.
Obviously, you're not going to get the whole.
No, you're
thing.
just getting the,
Yeah.
the thing.
But you know, the fix is usually.
Well, because I think
not
at this
that problem.
I think at this point MakerBot I'm touching the mic again. I think at this sorry guys. I think at this point I have a bad habit. I just fidget. At this point, I think MakerBot makes you replace the entire
heater block, not heater block,
the entire extruder
mount.
Assembly.
Yeah, either the entire extruder assembly or the bar mount assembly, which is...
I know that that's what they do for the Rep 2. Maybe for the Rep 2X it's different since they're still manufacturing the Rep 2X.
Well, the bar mount is, I think, the bar that it actually screws into, both the thermal tubes, the heater blocks, the ceramic, the set screws, the heater cartridges, the thermistors, the nozzle, like that whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
parts. Still.
Yeah, so it's like $200-300 when really all you need is a $50 replacement on your head.
Your heater block.
Mm-hmm. Now your thermistors, those will go out over time, but those I don't think you can pick them up individually from a couple other people, but
there's not a ton of people you can get them from.
No, because they're custom.
Yeah, I know there's one guy in Australia who does a lot of that stuff, but we've been getting demand for stuff in the United States because I just answered an email. The guy said, "Yeah, probably gonna have to get it from this Australian guy, but the shipping's as much as the part."
Man, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like it's like a $40 or $70 part, something in that range.
Well, they got to go halfway around the world.
Yeah.
But so that's the exciting announcement: is we have our own Rep 2X upgrade or repair, depending on how you want to look at it. It's a high temperature silicone, so it will withstand the temperatures. Yeah, I mean that's kind of it.
Nice looking part.
Yeah.
Yeah. More stuff in the pipipeline that I'm sure we'll be announcing soon-ish for other parts.
What are you looking at me for?
Well, hey, you're the R&D guy, so Jake is keeping busy working on stuff. We just can't say what it is yet.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So the second thing we're going to talk about, this is something that Eric brought to our attention. There is a group in the Netherlands that printed an enormous elephant. I mean, this thing is a full-size elephant, and the way that they ended up 3D printing this is pretty ingenious, actually. So you can't fit an entire elephant-size print in one printer, but what they did is they divided it up into vertical chunks. So think a grid of 4 wide by about 10 long, and each of the vertical chunks is about 1 foot by 1 foot. And well, that's just how big the parts are. And then the cool thing is how they were able to vertically build it, because it's vertically built. Each one of these 1 foot by 1 foot chunks it's a complete part all the way to the top.
Some of them are they look like they're like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be. So that's a child.
Yep. And what they ended up doing is taking original Ultimaker 3D printers, flipping them upside down. So they actually flip the entire chassis of the Ultimaker upside down, and then they flip the the carriage, like the printer carriage, upside down, so the nozzle is basically pointing to the top of the printer. So you flip this entire thing upside down, and then it's on a belt system in the back. So that's what it uses for the Z-axis. It just increases, keeps increasing. And one of the cool things about this, the whole idea behind it was for people to sign a petition saying that they're never going to ride an elephant.
This is in the Netherlands only. I think they'd probably like to scale it up, but for now, at least it was just in the Netherlands.
Yep. So what's this never ride an elephant thing?
So it was just about.
It has to do with the way that elephants are broken, basically trained to be able to be ridden. I mean, you basically have to completely break them. It's different than training a horse, because a horse, they've been more domesticated over the years, so it's not. There's a lot more cruelty involved in breaking an elephant.
I think the video is about 11 minutes long. It's a really good watch.
Yeah, it's a really good documentary.
3D printing is the 3D printing stuff was really cool. I say like the beginning was about more 3D printing, just like this is how I started. And it's like, this is why we're doing it. And then the ending, it kind of comes back into 3D printing.
Well, that's interesting that they used, they tipped a whole machine upside down.
Yeah, I don't know who thought of that.
Well, it was a series of 4, actually.
It was ingenious. I think they have 5 printers.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if what kind of like slicer they're using. Do they have, then do you mirror the slice so that it can be printed upside down? And then I'm just curious on how it
because
works.
the crazy thing about this is that they're actually imprinting the signatures, so people, when they sign this petition, it actually becomes part of the STL. So you have to zoom way in on it, but it actually has the names of the signatories.
It's in a very strange font that was supposed to emulate the wrinkles of an elephant.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how they worked it out, because it was as it was printing. So the thing was, the more petitions they get, the more it will print.
Yeah.
So if they didn't get enough people signing, it wouldn't finish. Essentially, this was in the middle
it's
of.
already done.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, I think it happened in 2014. I'm not sure at what point, but this was picked up by 3D printing industry.com. I think I don't know which one you. I saw it.
3D. Yeah. I'm on 3Ders.
It looks like it's been a few people picked it up, but it's a really cool story, and I don't know exactly how they would get the names on there. Like,
I'm sure that they were probably changing the design as they went.
Yeah,
or something.
I really don't know how that would work, but they had a bunch. They show their kind of workstation. They're like a bunch of people coding, and they have a bunch of people working on it. So
and there's ways to programmatically put that stuff into the surface too. I'm sure there's tools that it's nothing that we use, but I'm sure that there's stuff out there that's designed specifically for doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, in one part you can see that somebody is like tracing the kind of contours, like the lines that they're going to use for the, I guess a path, just the path that they had put the text on. They did make their own font too, which I think is super cool.
Well, and to make something that actually appears, something that will actually show up in a 3D print is tough too. I mean, because we're still talking FDM style printing, and I'm sure when they were printing this, they used a large bore nozzle, probably something anywhere from 0.5 to a full millimeter in diameter, and then the layer height I'm sure was pretty tall, just to actually make progress on this. Because I think printing it, even when you're using those 5 machines, it took 2 weeks to do. Which, I mean, based on some of the stuff we've printed here, like on the Z18, we had a print that was going to be 64 hours long, and it was just 4 extrusion pieces that were about 16 inches.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and that burned through almost a full spool of filament, too. I mean, they had gigantic, I think, 25, I think they had 25-pound spools. So
and they also said at the end of the article that I read that the technology that they use, like the inverted, the kind of setup, I think they're going to start a Kickstarter or something for it.
Maybe.
I don't know, but it's not going to be. It's going to be like. It'll be available at some point.
Well, and by the cool thing is that by the end of this, I think all but 1 or 2 travel agencies in the Netherlands stopped offering elephant rides for as part of their travel offerings. I mean, just because of
the publicity.
The publicity, and when you have 30,000 people, and
it looks really.
The Netherlands is not huge. It's not small by any means. Well, yeah, it is small actually. It's
the country is small.
It's about the size of a state, but imagine the state of maybe Illinois.
Oh, really?
So imagine I don't know. I'm trying to think more population wise.
Yeah,
is it bigger or smaller than Ireland?
That's a good question.
Here, let's
think it's smaller.
What's the population of the Netherlands? We're gonna find out.
The population of Netherlands was 16.8 million in 2013.
Okay, so, I mean,
what's the population of Minnesota?
Okay. What's the population of Minnesota?
The population of Minnesota was 5.457 million in 2014.
Yeah.
So 3 times as many as...
What's the population of Illinois? Illinois is probably going to be the
The
closest.
population of Illinois
Yeah.
pretty close.
12.88
Yeah.
million
Yeah.
in 2014.
So, but yeah, I mean, still,
That's
I mean, 30,000 people. It's a dent. But yeah, so very cool project. Then the next thing, Jake,
Yeah,
I
so-
think you know about this a little more.
Yeah, so it's, Eric was talking about Kickstarter. So one of the companies here in Fargo called C2 Renew, so C2 Renew, is actually coming out with a Kickstarter right now. They have a goal of about $75,000. They are a bioplastics or bio. What do you? I don't want to.
They're a plastics compounder, and they work with putting agricultural waste
Into
or
the
like other
plastics.
biomaterials
Biomass
as like a filler
type
in plastics.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're actually creating a polymer that is based from coffee. So you can have a coffee cup made out of coffee, and it's from a byproduct of making coffee.
Yeah, it's a byproduct of the roasting process, and Fargo actually has a couple of roasters in town now, which is really cool. So now you'll be able to have, and I think the base polymer they were using was, I think, PLA. Are they using PLA as a base polymer?
I think so. I'm going to just assume
Okay.
that it's PLA.
So let's assume it's PLA, already a corn-based plastic, and now you're
look up
adding,
their Kickstarter.
and now you're adding in, this. I forget what it was called. It was called something specific about the coffee, but it's something that's left over from the roasting process. But they had a 3D printed sample of this, so they actually they do some experimenting with extrusion.
Yeah.
So
Well, and they're also partly a design company too. I
yeah,
think.
so they had created some 3D printer filament that had the basically the same material. They ran into a few issues printing it, but they were trying to get this they're trying to get this all dialed in. Yeah, very late night. And
Just imagine the smell though.
well, yeah, that's just it. I mean, the printed part smells like coffee. I mean, can you
I'm not a
imagine?
coffee
I mean,
guy,
PLA.
but it's
I love the
interesting.
smell.
PLA
You
when
walk
it's
into a
printing.
supermarket and just smell the coffee aisle.
PLA when it's printing, smelling like waffles is already pretty cool. But if I can have a filament or a plastic, whatever, that when it's when you're processing it, it smells like coffee, that'd be pretty freaking sweet.
Yeah, so they're not developing the 3D printed filament out of coffee. What they are trying to do is get the injection mold tool done so that they can injection mold a coffee cup made out of coffee or a coffee liner.
Yeah, that was my
The 3D
question.
printing is just part of their
It's like the exterior
development process.
Like the exterior. Think like on a coffee mug, you have sort of that grip part, like the non-aluminum or non-plastic.
the part where you can put like
part.
a little picture or something, or like at
Yeah.
Starbucks, the little thing that you just to keep the heat off of your hand.
The part where you're supposed to actually take it off when you dishwasher.
Yeah.
When you dishwasher. That's a verb, kids.
When you dishwasher.
That's an activity.
You just verbed it.
I did. But their Kickstarter, I think
you remember
went
what it was
live. Just do C2 Renew or C2 Cup or something.
C2 mug. C2 Renew will probably pop it up. There we go. Coffee cup made from coffee. So
It's more like a tumbler.
fairly
yeah,
descriptive.
yeah. It's a travel mug that is made from a coffee biocomposite that uses coffee waste. All right, read more. So they have a goal of $75,000. They still have another 29 days left to go. Let's see.
You gonna read or you just reading it?
I'm working on it.
Biocomposite formulation.
So
The whole visual audio thing.
man, you can tell there's an
You have a
engineer.
face for
You can tell
radio.
there's an engineer writing this. To develop the cup, we create a new biocomposite formulation, which is a hybridization of a bio-based resin and the coffee waste. We then wanted to develop. Oh man, they need a proofreader. We then wanted to develop a proof of concept cup.
Sorry, Chad.
And use our coffee biocomposite to make 3D printer filament, and we printed the first coffee cup. Next, we filled the cup with coffee and celebrated our success with a nice cup of Joe.
Cup of Joe.
Oh man.
So here's the next important part is with the success of the 3D printed cup, we are looking to raise $75,000 to create an injection molding tool and produce the coffee biocomposite to make more cups for folks to enjoy their coffee in the whole new way. So again, it's for the coffee cup, not the filament. So it's going to be. I mean, we saw the 3D printed part, as a 3D printed company.
Oh, and
Fargo.
it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sec. I mean, I don't know how often people say this about plastic, but it's a sexy looking plastic.
Yeah. So they got a Kickstarter. They got a video. I watched the video. It looks pretty good.
It almost has a bamboo-ish
Yeah,
style.
yeah, like
looking,
a really dark,
Yeah.
like a almost coffee colored bamboo.
Mahogany.
Mahogany.
With the striations and the color variation that it has.
Oh, and I'm not sure if that's. I think that has
That's
more to
just
do
part
with
of
the. Has more to do with the fact that it was 3D printed
Well, they
for the
printed
prototype.
it on a Rep 2, but we're going to get them to print it on a Taz because I think you can wrench. You know, the Taz has a bigger nozzle.
Well,
you can wrench
on the Taz 5, yeah, because it has
a bigger nozzle. Plus, it has with 3mm, you can wrench on it more. You can push it more.
Yeah,
that's the idea. But I mean, even for a Rep 2 print with the composite like that, it looked pretty nice.
Yeah. So right now in Fargo, it is. Let's see, what's the temperature in Fargo? It is. Oh wow! Actually, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No, that's gotta be
that
wrong.
can't be right.
It's a segue.
I'll check
That
mine.
can't be right.
Yeah, it is.
It says it's 24 degrees here.
I don't know
Yeah.
about that.
Man,
It's nice
we've got a heat wave now. Yesterday it was like
It was
20 below.
-7.
Yeah, but look at
some
the
point.
temperatures.
It says 24.
It does say
I got
27,
AccuWeather.
doesn't it?
Well, you guys, I don't know if that's supposed to be
So-
a segue. But
Oh, it
this
was.
This
I'm
is
glad
going to
you
be a
picked up on
definite
that.
one. Is I get to
I
go.
wasn't sure where you were going.
I don't know
with that.
either. I'm going to be in Phoenix, Dublin. Oh, Phoenix is 64 right now, and it's going to be 70s all week.
They
So
probably
I'm,
think it's
Oh, man,
cold
I
there.
hate
I'm leaving.
You're gonna see some coats
It's a
there.
whole
I
37
get the evil
degrees
glare from
warmer
Todd.
there. That's yeah. Because Jake, what clothing types are you bringing to Arizona that we don't really break out here at this time of year?
Sandals, shorts, and well, we break out t-shirts. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna be sitting by the pool.
Are you even bringing a sweatshirt
poor
with
guy.
you?
No,
Poor guy.
I'm
Probably just the one he wears there.
I need to grab that shirt. From
You need to bring
that.
something on the plane, but
There's only a couple negatives in Fargo's forecast for
Yeah.
next week.
but
Well, I mean, on Thursday
finally
it's gonna be
warming up.
7.
We had a
Yeah.
rough
It's gonna be
week
7
last
when I'm
week.
in.
last
So-
week we hit like -25 at some point. And that's
What's the wind chill?
Really cold.
So Jake, what are you doing in
So-
Arizona?
Yeah, so I
Being
have
warm.
Yeah. I'm-
Yeah.
Well, first I'm visiting my grandma. That's the first thing,
Aw.
and visiting some relatives down there. But the main thing is Friday. So when this is posted, actually, I've already talked at the Egg Commodity Classic. So that's what I'm actually going down there. Is the 2015 Egg Commodity Classic. I'm going to be talking about how 3D printing is getting, how 3D printing will impact agriculture and farming. So both from a plastic side of things, so your PLA and all, you know, even some of your coffee stuff. But the other one is actually printing farm parts. And how that's going to impact dealerships and certain things like that. And I'm going to be talking for about 15 minutes. I'm probably going to go a little bit longer, but
Like, they can't fly you there and like have you talk for only 15 minutes.
but
Got your PowerPoint all done?
no, I'm going to wing it. I don't need no
Don't let them know that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need a PowerPoint when you're talking about 3D printing, especially if it's
Well, I hate to say it. There's not all farmers are young and hip like we are.
we're not farmers.
How much of it is going to be like
Well-
fielding the questions?
Oh, that's the end of it. But I mean, what my presentation really is going to be about is actually showing different things that's out there, and what is 3D printing, because you have an older generation of farmers. There's not a lot of young farmers like our age.
Oh, there are. I mean, it's mainly family farmers. Like
Well,
they're
yeah.
basically the kid goes to college for egg management or something like that, and then they take they end up taking.
I guess a lot of the ones I know.
But
they're
typically,
older
like
generation.
typically, the farming community is an aging community.
Yeah.
Well, there's just fewer. I mean, it's becoming much more industrialized farming where you don't have your mom and pop. It's your mom and pop in air quotes farms anymore. It's the big.
It's an operation.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a very commercial
The
operation.
government owns a lot of the farms these days.
Well, no, I wouldn't say
That's
that.
what I heard. They'd buy up the land and then they.
Well, they'll buy up land, but some of that
I
has
thought
more.
they
still
actually-
have your.
Some
you
of that
still
has
have your-
more to do with controlling crop prices.
Okay.
Like they'll actually, there's some stuff where they'll pay the farmers not to grow for a season
heard
just so
that.
that they can keep the prices up. But I mean, I look at
Hmm.
like around where
Thank you, government,
Some
for
of
Well, because it's either that or you have the farms go under.
Yeah.
Because if the price, if you have too much of a supply and there's not enough of a demand,
Yeah.
you can't, you're losing money. But the farms that I
But
think
is
are
it the
going to start
government?
taking off are the more industrial ones. Where like if you look at a dairy farm, they're not milking 200 cows every day. They're milking 20,000 cows a day. Like there's a farm near where I grew up. They had like on one site they milk 10,000 cows every day. It's nuts. Like basically the cows walk. I mean they have detailed analytics on every cow. based on the food that they're eating,
Better
their milk
healthcare
output, what medications they've taken, and you can track all of this stuff, so you can understand, okay, well, what is the exact amount of medication that we need to be giving to the cows to keep them healthy? How do we keep them producing the optimum amount of milk? How do we keep them milking for the maximum number of days before they have to calve again or something like that? It's nuts. It's not just I feel good about growing my stuff. It's it's a science. It's a hard science.
Let's get a cow and put it out in the pasture and then maybe milk it a couple days.
Well, but I mean, look at how 3D printing with even doing drone stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's that one company. Well, I can't talk about that product. But anyway, companies.
Hey, you caught yourself.
Whoa. They might not be too happy.
That was the emergency brakes.
But I mean, getting detailed soil analytics, getting detailed crop analytics, so that you can spot spray in the field. Flying over, knowing plant health without having to go and walk out in the field. I mean,
and seeing things that you can't see with your naked eye.
Well, your farmers are sitting more. They're going to be looking more at their iPad than they are actually out in the field looking at their crops.
Yeah,
and then you don't need
and drive out there with their iPad.
Well, right. Yeah, you won't need as many people to manage as much land.
Right.
Be more efficient and more not productive. Maybe efficient also.
Well, efficient. I think that's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I'll be talking about is kind of how 3D printing will impact the farming community, both on a crop basis as well as a machine basis. Well, yeah, because
that's huge. Because I mean, if a piece of equipment breaks down, if you're in the middle of harvest and you've had too many wet days and you're trying to beat the frost, I mean, if you lose a day, you might not even be able to harvest that crop.
You get a lot of improvisation with fixing equipment,
to put it lightly,
during harvest when you're farming.
It's
not OSHA approved.
Not necessarily.
Lots of banging with hammers and persuading things into shapes
a bigger
that they
hammer.
didn't originally come in.
Yeah. But well, I mean, and then the dealership too. So if you, I guess I'll get into a little bit here. So on the dealership side of things, if you have, let's take locally here, it's RDO. I don't know what it actually stands for, but RDO is one of the big fix-its here in town. So RDO has these many, they have 10 parts for their John Deere combine. Well, all of a sudden they run out of these 10 parts, and it takes 4 to 6 weeks to get this part in, or even 2 days. Sometimes 2 days isn't fast enough. But let's say it takes more than a week to get here. All of a sudden that farmer's down for a week. How much money has he lost? How, maybe the crop is going to, get damaged, or the prices go down, or whatever. Where if you have a 3D printer, you could actually 3D print this metal part, this plastic part, whatever. You could 3D print it faster. Maybe it's a 3-hour thing that's, something that could fit on something like a MakerBot that you could print and say, oh, there you go. There's your knob for whatever.
It's good enough for 3 days.
Yeah, it's good enough until
the really solidly manufactured part is shown up. I mean, some of the metal stuff, you can have that be your final part if you want. I mean, the plastic stuff, some of it'll last a long time, but some of it, if you just need it to get you until that the official part comes
Band-Aid.
in.
Yeah, I mean, instead of a bigger hammer, let's use some technology instead of a bigger hammer.
We use a little hammer, and
it's just more precise.
Going into some kind of kludge fest, you can actually put something on there that does what it's supposed to do. It may not be as durable as the original part, but at least
it'll get you by.
It'll get you by.
And so that's one side of it. That's kind of the short version. The other side of it is what this stuff is made of. So PLA, polylactic acid, one of the reasons it comes, one of the places it comes from is from cornstarch, so from corn. And that impacts because now you're taking corn to use this product, and that now all of a sudden gives corn growers in America
another market.
Yep. And so that either now if you look at how is that going to affect the price of corn and all that jazz, I mean, I'm not sure.
Well,
I'm not an expert.
PLA uses 0.1% of the entire United States corn output.
And I'm not an expert on corn by any means, but the way I understand it is there are different varieties of corn that are used for different things, and a lot of the varieties that are used for ethanol or for PLA or things like that aren't the same that we use for our food corn. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then there's other ways to make PLA too. It's not just corn. Sugarcane is another one. Switchgrass is another one that I know they're looking into pretty heavy. Switchgrass has been, I mean, there's Switchgrass is a much more efficient plant for doing even for doing biofuels, but because it's not as versatile as corn is, you can't use it for as many things as you can use corn. Switchgrass is actually easier to grow. You get more energy output per acre, all that stuff.
I think you can get 2 crops in a season generally, or more.
Oh, and it can grow places where corn just can't.
Right.
Yeah, because you need that lactic acid to create polylactic acid. So you need the lactic acid. Doesn't matter where it's from.
I think it has something to do with the sugar or the starch. I think it's something like that. That's why sugar
because
cane's
lactic
not a good
acid
option.
isn't that part of the sugar? Isn't that the
It
sugar?
has something to do when it breaks down.
When it breaks down.
Yeah.
I'm not a polymer scientist.
I didn't pay enough attention.
I did
have to read
biology
it
class.
I did a big paper. Big paper my
Chemistry.
senior year in high school on ethanol production and why it's not all it's cracked up to be. Because I mean,
it's not the most efficient thing.
No, it's not. And if you're using it'd be more efficient to use something else for ethanol production, like switchgrass. Corn.
There's
I mean,
a lot
the
of
corn
waste
growers.
product that comes
I
out
grew
of
up in an
corn.
agricultural community, so it was not a very popular
think
paper
like-
that I wrote. But no, it's not. It wasn't inaccurate.
Well, I mean, the closest the closest gas station in any direction was 20 miles away for you.
Any gas station with a person working at it. So I mean, there was a gas station,
Wow,
but
you lived in
it was
sticks.
credit card only. Yeah, I mean, there were probably 5 towns surrounding me that were about 20 miles away, but they were all 20 miles away. And you know what? We got broadband internet before I'd say most people did. You gotta love those telephone co-ops. When they install it for everyone. It was awesome.
That's interesting, Max. So I'll be down there. I'm flying out Tuesday morning. I get to hang out with, like I said, my grandma and a few of my relatives, cousins throughout the week, and hit up the flea market.
Ooh boy!
I know, right? Gonna get some things. I don't know what they
Something.
Flea market stuff.
Yeah, so I'll bring you back some hats that I paid $1 for, and
Good.
some
Just
magnets.
just what I wanted.
I'm gonna get one that says "I'm the boss." I think that's one of them that you can.
If there's anything you don't need, it's that.
No, that was for you, not for me.
Oh, okay.
Or I just work here.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's my go-to.
Just bossy.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so I'll spend a couple of days down there and then come back, and then I think the next trip that I'm going on is in April to New York to the
Inside 3D Printing Expo.
Yep. So hopefully we'll have a big announcement closer to that show that we can talk about.
Yep.
It's another one in my pipeline. So yeah.
Next week.
We get a lot of
Oh,
stuff
next week.
baking in the back of the stove here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. So next week. So next week's gonna be kind of. I'm hoping it's gonna be next week. It's gonna be a little bit of a special podcast. We're actually gonna have my old professor. Former.
My old professor.
Well, yeah, I think he's been there for 15 years, but he doesn't look old. Wow, I'm digging myself a hole.
Yep. Put the shovel down, Jake.
So
Your past professor.
there you go. My former professor, Joe Mrazek from the Tech College here in Moorhead. He's going to be on the program for talking about how they're using their Rep 2s, their Lulzbot, their digitizer, the Rep 2X. Yes.
Yeah, they have a bunch of stuff.
So they have 4 machines plus a powder machine.
Yeah, they have the Z-Core.
Yeah, they have a Z Corp 310 Plus. So I'm hoping that he's going to be on next week's podcast. If it's not next week, it's going to be the following week, but I'm pretty positive it's going to be next week. So he's going to be talking about how they're using it. That's the program I went through as well. And just kind of giving us maybe a little bit more insight into his program and how they're implementing 3D printing. Because they've actually changed a lot of their curriculum and a lot of their class structure to adapt 3D printing, as it's such a big thing in the mechanical drafting and design course, or actually design and 3D printing, design and 3D technologies is actually what the program is going to be called, I think, in the future. But I mean, he's going to have some really, really cool insight into how a tech college is using this technology for that kind of program.
I'm just excited to hear him talk to you like you're a kid.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. I did see you guys talk to once when I guess that was my first day on the job. You guys did training at M State.
And I mean, that's the cool thing. You know, when you go to a tech college, you know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you went to a tech college? Well, I went to a 4-year education." Yeah.
For crying out loud.
No, not you. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying generalizing. You know, and the thing is, yeah, I went to a tech college, but I came out with virtually no debt, I came out with a job that paid $30,000 a year. So if I had any debt, I would get it paid off in a year. And I was employable after my first year out of a 2-year tech program. And I'm a huge advocate for it. But crap, where was I going with this?
Being a tech graduate myself, not necessarily a graduate, but going through the tech program myself and my dad having taught there for years, I am definitely behind the whole concept as well.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
some people know exactly what they want to do, and they don't need that broad focus. They just need the laser. What do I need to get a good job? And they get out there in the field, and they get a couple of years of experience, and
maybe they go back to college.
Yeah,
because that's what one program
to specialize in other areas.
Yeah, because one program that I didn't take advantage of, which I'm kind of kicking myself. I don't know if it was available at the time when I graduated, but there's a 2+2 where you could go 2 years at the tech college for drafting, then you go 2 years at MSUM for operations management, or now project manager or project management or operations management, and where all of a sudden that gets you in your ROI and your lean a little bit of your lean manufacturing and all that good stuff, where I have the technical background. But the idea there is, okay, I have the technical background, that's going to get me the job at the manufacturing facility. The operations is going to make me that manager, or that's going to bump me up. And
once you gain some experience in the field, then you can go back and further your education and then move yourself up.
And so, and there I get a bachelor's degree in like project management or operations management. Right. But so it's going to be really interesting to see his take on the whole 2-year thing and how they're implementing 3D printing, and how, just to see how a tech college does that. I mean, there's nothing. I think the point I was trying to make with the whole I went to a 4-year is that the tech college is really great starting point. We're seeing a lot of students go that route because
I think it's a little easier for them to tweak and change and modify
it's
their
a more
curriculum
modular kind
than
of
it is
setup.
for a 4-year to change the curriculum in specific areas. And as fast as additive and 3D is changing,
just the whole world.
Yeah,
because that was one thing. Was when I was there, we had this 3D printer, and in my first year, was like, I want to use that. And we started playing with it a little bit, and he's like, all right, well, we're going to add a class because there's actually something tangible that we can use here, and it's been sitting there for I don't know how many, a couple of years, but in one semester, he had it so that we could start using it, and actually it meant something to the students, and now it's becoming more and more integrated into that curriculum because it's a technology.
It's becoming integrated into that job field, into that career track.
Well, I mean, that's the how do you get a 3D model? Or how do you 3D print? Well, first you need a 3D model. How do you get that? You have to design it or find it. Right. Well, let's design it. So I'll get off my soapbox a little bit until next week as far as that goes. But
so you done yet?
No, not yet. How's Reddit?
A 2-hour podcast next week.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be cool to see his input on 3D printing and how things are going. But yeah, that's kind of what I got.
All right. Well, I think we definitely covered it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think enjoy the weather for all of us.
Yeah. We'll be living vicariously through you.
Sitting there
Just
next to the pool.
Post a lot of photos.
Oh, you better watch your Snapchat.
Oh man.
I don't have a Snapchat, but I'll see it on Facebook probably. Something.
Yeah. Somewhere. I can't shoot video on Snapchat. It doesn't allow me.
All right.
App fails.
All right. Well, on behalf of Jake, myself, Eric, and Todd, thanks again for watching another episode of the Fargo 3D Printing Show. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on iTunes or YouTube, and definitely follow us on our other social channels: Facebook, Twitter, Google+. I don't know.
We're at a bunch of places.
Pinterest, Instagram. I mean, you name it, we're probably on it.
Twitter.
Yeah.
I think you said that.
Yeah, I said Twitter.
MySpace.
All right. Well, again, on behalf of all of us, thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Bye. The most upvotes I've ever seen in the 3D printing subreddit. It was a text conversation. The girl said, "Hey, I hear you've got abs, ABS."
Oh God.
And the guy said, "Yeah, you want to see a picture?" She said, "Sure." Shoots back a picture of like 5 spools of ABS filament. And the title of it was "How 3D Printing Can Help You Alienate Women," or something like that. It was something along those lines.